Hi, welcome back to my channel, Open the Door. This is episode 81. Apologies without accountability. Recognizing the red flags of a fake apology. So, have you ever received an apology that didn't feel sincere or genuine? I think we all have. While I was preparing this episode, I was thinking not just about others' apologies toward me, but also my experience with giving apologies. And I've realized that I have given some fake apologies. You're going to understand that better by the end of this episode of what a fake apology is and how to give a sincere apology. So I could see and hear and sense when someone's apologizing to me, whether it's an authentic apology or if it's ego-based. And I have accepted less than genuine apologies to keep the peace, to maintain status quo, but this has resulted in a lower sense of self-esteem, a feeling like I've given away my power and having less self-respect and ignoring my intuition and my higher self. And then when I've given these fake apologies, I know that I've done it to brush over an issue, and it usually resulted in me tamping down my feelings, which ultimately led to frustration and anger, holding grudges, and having unresolved issues within myself and in relationships as well. So I'm not immune to this giving the fake apology, but it's one of those things that I'm working on. I definitely, after preparing this episode, know the difference between a fake apology, and I'll be adjusting my apologies accordingly. So here's why we avoid taking accountability in situations where we need to give an apology. All of these things: ego, shame, fear of consequences, facing criticism, facing punishment, uncomfortable emotions, a desire to control the narrative, a lack of emotional maturity, wanting to manipulate the outcome, and flat out denial of any wrongdoing. So those are all reasons why we avoid taking accountability. Here's some examples of fake apologies, or another word for it would be performative. That's the fancy word for fake apologies. And then I'm going to read the apology. I think we've all heard these examples before. And then I'm going to point out what that wording of it is actually doing. And then the best part is what your response will be to these type of apologies. So starting with the first one. I'm sure you've heard this before. I'm sorry that you feel that way. This deflects the accountability and places blame on us for our emotions. I'm sorry that you feel that way. Here's your response. This isn't about what I feel. It's about what happened. Can we focus on that? If you don't have your journal out yet, get it so you can write this stuff down. Here's another fake apology. If you hadn't done X, I wouldn't have reacted that way. This type of fake apology is shifting blame. It's shifting the blame from the offender to back onto you. So if you hadn't done something wrong, I wouldn't have reacted that way. Here's your response. My actions don't justify your reaction. Okay, another fake apology that I'm sure you've heard goes like this. I'm sorry if I hurt you. The word if implies the doubt over the harm done. So the response to that is, it's not about if you did hurt me. I need you to acknowledge that. Another fake apology that I'm sure you've heard. I didn't mean to upset you. Well, what that does is it focuses on the intention of the other rather than the harm done. And, they may have admirable and honest intentions. But as I said, the focus needs to be on the harm done and how you're going to resolve that. So the response to that one is that intentions matter, but so do outcomes. So let's talk about avoiding this in the future. Here's a common apology that I'm sure you've heard. I'm sorry, but ... So that but will be followed by some type of explanation. But excuses are often disguised as accountability. So your response to "I'm sorry, but dot dot dot," here's what you could say: an apology followed by an excuse is not an apology. Talk about your responsibility without justifying it with excuses. Here's a common apology: can't we just move on? This is an attempt to rush past the issue without addressing what happened. And the other would be showing a lack of remorse or responsibility by wanting to just rush through this and move on and not really talk about it. Your response to "can we just move on" could be, "I want to move forward too, but I need to know this won't happen again." Now we're going to get into a couple juicy ones. "I already said I'm sorry." This is a form of gaslighting to have you question your own feelings. And your response could be, "Apologies are a start, but accountability includes changed behavior." And this one I've heard many times in my lifetime. "I was just joking," or I didn't mean it. And what that does is it trivializes the harm caused by this other person. So your response will be, "Regardless of your intent, the impact was real. Let's address that." Just a couple more here. Another fake apology may sound like, "You're too sensitive." I've heard that my whole life. Not so much as apologies, but just a comment toward me. It's true, I'm sensitive, I don't care. "You're too sensitive" shifts blame onto you. So your response could be, "My feelings are valid. Instead of dismissing them, can we address what happened?" And I've used this one myself, so I'm not immune to this, guys. I'm human too. This one: "Fine, I'm sorry. You happy now?" Well, that's not an apology. I think we know that, especially when there's anger behind it or a raised vocal level. So the response could be, "Apologies should come from understanding, not frustration. Let's talk about this when you're ready to have a real conversation." And that's a good point. Doesn't need to happen on the spot. You can give it some time for everybody to think about what they'd like to say so they can have a calm and a mature conversation over whatever happened. But the key to whether apologies are fake or not has to do with the focus. Is the focus of the apology on repairing the harm that was done, or are they just making an apology to make them feel better about themselves? The real authentic apology comes down to a couple of things: sincerity, acknowledgement, responsibility, and change and action moving forward. So a real apology is going to have these type of elements to it. First of all, the acknowledgement. And person might say something like this: "I understand that my words and or actions hurt you." The next step in this real apology would be the person taking full responsibility. "That was wrong of me. What can I do to make sure this doesn't happen again?" And then them displaying genuine remorse. "I deeply regret hurting you." And then the action that's to follow: "What can I do to make it right? I will work on this to make sure that it does not happen again." So acknowledgement, taking responsibility, genuine remorse, and then a change in behavior and actions following the apology are all elements of a true, authentic, genuine apology. So in close, having to do with apologies and whether they're the real deal or fake or not. Well, first, remember that your healing from difficult situation comes from setting boundaries and knowing what you deserve, and which is sincerity and accountability. A real apology is not just words, but it's in the actions that follow. Don't ever settle for anything less than authentic respect and responsibility. And keep an eye out for these fake apologies. Study up on those responses I gave you, and hopefully they'll come in handy and help you to steer a difficult situation into something much more manageable, and that you'll have a resolve as well. Talking about respect and responsibility, I've got an upcoming episode. It won't be the next one, but within the next few episodes, I'm going to do an episode entitled Respect is Non-Negotiable. So I'm going to talk about why you deserve respect, what you should do to encourage respect from others, and maybe even talk a little bit about how you may be disrespectful and ways that you can change that as well. This is our episode for today. Apologies without accountability. I hope you're doing well and taking good care of yourselves. I will see you again soon. I do wish you peace, love, and light. I hope you have a great day. And that's it. Bye for now.